Welcome to the Brain Alpha. Today, we're jumping right into an explainer that completely dismantles one of the most toxic myths we've all been sold. I'm talking about the lie that hard work automatically equals success. Look, if you've been grinding away, putting in those endless hours, and you still feel like you're just spinning your wheels, you're definitely not alone. And honestly, it is not your fault. Today, we're breaking down the actual science and psychology behind why hustle culture is keeping you stuck, and we'll map out the exact framework you need to finally get ahead.
Now, check out this jarring reality check. It comes straight from Dr. Alok Kanojia, a Harvard-trained psychiatrist who reaches millions of people online. He flat out warns us that relying purely on effort to solve your problems is a complete scam. Honestly, it makes you wonder, how did we all fall for it in the first place?
All right, here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, the hard work scam. Second, trap 1, the effort illusion. Third, trap 2, flying solo. Then we'll hit the biology of fear, profit over emotion, and finally, your new path forward.
So let's dive right into section 1, the hard work scam, and how we start unlearning the lies of hustle culture.
Moving along to trap 1, the effort illusion. It's all about direction over sweat.
You know, ever since we were kids, we've been fed these fables. The cultural conditioning is everywhere, teaching us that the hardest working person always wins. It's that classic American dream narrative, right? Just put your head down, do an honest day's labor, and riches will naturally follow. But because of this deeply ingrained story, we start to falsely equate buckets of sweat with guaranteed success. And honestly, that sets us up for a really dangerous lifelong illusion.
Let me show you why that math is just completely broken in the real world. Think about this. If a supermarket manager wanted to make $100 million by working 24 hours a day, 365 days a year without a single second of sleep, they would still need an hourly wage of exactly $11,415. Let that sink in. It literally proves that the math of the hourly hustle just doesn't work. You simply cannot trade your time for that level of success, no matter how hard you grind.
And this perfectly illustrates the catch. If you define effort purely by time and energy, but your direction is wrong, you are never going to reach your goal. It absolutely does not matter how fast you're sprinting if you're running on the wrong treadmill. You're really just going to get sweaty and tired. True success actually requires prioritizing the right direction combined with immense leverage.
So, I want you to take a second and reflect on your own habits. Are you trying to do absolutely everything by yourself? Are you the one answering every single late-night email, color-coding all the spreadsheets, and micromanaging every minor detail because you think literally nobody else can do it right? Ask yourself, when was the last time you actually asked for help?
Which brings us to trap 2, flying solo, or as I like to call it, the do-it-yourself myth.
See, American hustle culture constantly praises extreme independence. We're told over and over to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, right? And that makes us feel like asking for help is some shameful sign of weakness. We end up clinging to this false pride and the total myth of the self-made success, falsely believing that, hey, if we don't bleed for it alone, we didn't actually earn it. But here is a massive reality check. The modern business landscape is way too complex for one person to master alone. To really succeed, you have to toss your ego out the window and pay experts to handle what you don't know. By delegating tasks to people who are simply better at them than you aren't showing weakness. Actually, you are strategically buying back your own time so you can focus on the bigger picture. Okay, section 4, the biology of fear and why change terrifies you. So if delegating is the answer, why does it feel so scary to actually do it? Well, it all comes down to a physiological concept called homeostasis. Your brain uses homeostasis to keep your heart rate and temperature perfectly stable. But because of this, it perceives absolutely any change in your daily habits as a literal threat to your survival. Kind of like how a caveman's brain would react to a predator. Your brain would literally rather you stay in a miserable, exhausting grind than risk the unknown, just because the familiar grind is categorized as safe.
So when you feel completely terrified to ask for help or pivot your business model, it's not because it's genuinely dangerous. It's just your brain's primal defense mechanism triggering a false alarm to keep you safely locked in your old routine. While your brain is screaming that stepping back from the hustle is a threat, the reality is that this exact change is where your new opportunity lies.
Next up is section 5, profit over emotion. Let's look at the rational framework.
Here's how we bypass that biological fear using logic.
By following these 4 straightforward steps in this decision matrix, you can acknowledge the fear without letting it run the show. First, identify the opportunity to delegate. Second, just wave hello to that feeling of homeostasis trying to scare you. Third, logically calculate the tangible benefit of getting your time back. And finally, execute based purely on that calculation, completely overriding your fear.
But, crucially, you gotta know what you're actually calculating for. Remember, profit doesn't just mean money. You need to clearly define whether your ultimate benefit is more income, more family time, or maybe just total personal freedom before making your move. Once you explicitly define what profit means to you, making these logical leaps becomes incredibly simple.
All right, Section 6, your new path forward. It's time to escape the matrix of hustle.
This simple table really summarizes your whole new paradigm. It's about shifting away from isolated burnout and toward a life of calculated success. Look, if you stay in the old hustle paradigm of trying to do everything alone, the result is mathematically guaranteed to be burnout. But by choosing the new path, delegating the unknown, and taking action based on calculated logic, you achieve high-leverage success.
So, I want to leave you with this pivotal question. Will you keep grinding on a broken path, or will you choose the direction of calculated success? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and help us build the hype. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.